What I think is so inspiring about Katniss, she wants to not be changed by the capital, by society, but she's going to be a rock. With trauma, we have things like avoidance of triggers. We have intense, hypervigilant fear response, where you can't really experience peace or feel safe. A trigger is terrible. Even if you mentally know what's going on, it brings you emotionally to, I am back in the arena.
Night in the hanging tree.
A lot of times when you have someone who exemplifies what people want to be but they're too scared to be, it galvanizes a movement.
And if we burn, you burn with us.
Because of what she shows in the arena, she's recruited to be the Mockingjay. You're already feeling it.
Of course I am. Are you kidding me? J-Law is the truth, man.
Hello and welcome to Cinema Therapy. I'm Jonathan Decker, licensed therapist, and I love movies.
I'm Seawright, professional filmmaker, and I need therapy.
And today we are going to continue our Psychology of a Hero series with the one and only Girl on Fire, Katniss Everdeen. Oh, this is going to be fun.
What's his name? Fluger Fleefenbottom?
No, it would be Caesar Flickerman.
Not Fluger Fleeferbottom?
Not Fluger Fleeferbottom.
Guys, I'm real bad at words and names and pretty much everything that's not moving pictures.
The thing about our Psychology of a Hero series is we are normalizing the fact that, because we also have villain therapy.
Yep.
Heroes, villains, just people, mental health is something that we all struggle with. Relationship struggles, like, we all got them.
And you know who has them more than anybody? Katniss.
She's not coming back! Get out! Get out!
She's got problems.
Yeah, she's been through some shit.
Been through some shit.
Yeah. So we're going to take a look at three things today. We're going to take a look at her morality in the face of a world that is immoral and cold and aloof, and how she maintains her integrity and compassion. We're going to look at her extreme introversion and how she just really, really doesn't want to be on camera, really, really doesn't want to be in front of people, and how she overcomes that for a higher cause. And then we're going to take a look at her experience of complex PTSD. What's the difference between PTSD and complex PTSD?
Oh.
And how she works through it.
Interesting. I have always kind of wondered that.
Yeah.
And
This is going to be a fun episode. So
Yay.
What's the setup here?
America has turned into Panem. There's a capital, they're rich. There are districts that the capital runs as basically enslaved labor colonies. The ones close to the capital are fairly rich. The ones further away from the capital are not. And District 12 is the furthest away, and that's the one where Katniss lives. And it's bad there.
These outlying districts once rebelled against the capital, and the capital put it down. And as a reminder not to mess with the capital, every year they're like,
one young man and woman to fight to the death in a pageant of honor, courage, and sacrifice.
we can draft against your will children from your community to compete in a death
Who will
match.
then fight each other to the death.
Yeah, and the winner will get a lifetime of wealth, and everyone else just gets brutally butchered on live television.
What fun.
Yay! And so what I always thought was interesting is how this is a tale of compassion in really brutal,
Horrible, horrifying circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so let's take a look.
So this is The Reaping, where they select the kids that are going to go. And this is Elizabeth Banks just giving it her all. This is 113% of Elizabeth Banks.
Primrose Everdeen.
So this is Katniss' sister. It's her first year, and she's terrified that she'll be reaped because she knows she'll die.
Yeah.
She's not a fighter.
Come on up. Well, come on up.
And Katniss was comforting her that there's no way she'll be drawn, but here she is.
Because every year you get another name added to the
Another, your name added again.
Yeah, your name's added again. So if you've been doing it 4 years, you're in 4 times.
This is a family that's lost their father. Mother was into addiction and mental.
Prim! I volunteer! I volunteer as tribute. I believe we have a volunteer. Mr. Mayor?
You need to get out of here. You need to get out of here.
No.
Go find Mom.
No.
Prim, go find Mom right now.
No.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Go find Mom.
No.
Prim, leave. Go find Mom.
No!
Dramatic turn of events here in District 12.
So Prim's just gone from I'm gonna die to my sister's gonna
Very
die.
first volunteer.
Very first volunteer. Always been an option. No one's ever done it.
Come on, dear.
Well, why would you volunteer?
Right.
Yes, I'd like to go die, please.
What's your name?
Katniss Everdeen.
Well, I bet my hat that was your sister, wasn't it?
Yes.
Let's have a big hand for our very first volunteer, Katniss Everdeen.
The symbol of their district. You're already feeling it.
Of course I am. Are you kidding me? Jennifer Lawrence, she had done a couple of indie movies, like one big one in particular when she got cast in this and in the X-Men films. And I think people just sort of ignored the fact that J-Law is the truth, man. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark.
Yay!
Love Surfshark.
Surfshark is a VPN or a virtual private network, which means it'll protect your information and all of your online goodness.
This is true.
We're gonna use it to watch shows that we can't get in our country.
Because we're super smart.
You a genius.
We're going to watch a lot of shows from other countries. Did you know you can unlock the 15 largest Netflix libraries from overseas? Or if you are overseas from here, you can unlock ours.
Ooh, daddy likey.
Creepy.
And you get amazing, awesome shows like 24 seasons 1 through 5.
And mediocre shows like 24 seasons 6 through 8. It wasn't great. Or Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is fantastic.
Which we do love. And you can access the BBC iPlayer, Hulu, and all sorts of other streaming services.
I love iPlayer. Please give us iPlayer, Britain. Please.
Please.
I love it. Unlock all of this content by installing Surfshark on your computer, smartphone, tablet, TV, lots of stuff. You can put it on just about everything.
You can use it on an unlimited number of devices. There's 24/7 customer support, unlimited number of platforms, and a 30-day money-back guarantee.
Go to surfshark.deals/cinematherapy and use our code
Cinematherapy.
Surprise. And you can get 83% off.
Wow.
And 4 extra months free. This is a special Black Friday week only offer.
Last time I took 83% off, somebody called the cops.
It's a murder joke.
No, it's a disrobing, it's a public... Wow, we were not on the same page on that one.
No.
I'm naked, you're killing, like whatever.
Whatever. It's all fun and games until someone gets hurt or arrested. Or cited for public indecency.
Thank you, Surfshark, for helping us to
watch more movies. She is such a good actor. Like, she's asked to do such big, huge, dramatic emotions in this. And, I mean, they're not small. She's not, like, keeping it internal and little, but it all feels so believable.
Yeah.
And it's just... man, it's just gut-wrenching.
Well, and, you know, we look at the scene and there's somebody in your life you would die for.
Sure.
You know, in my case, and I know in your case, we've talked about this, like...
our kids.
Yeah, like, no question. Not even think about it. For her, it's her sister. But Katniss, throughout the entire series, chooses compassion when other people are choosing self-preservation.
Yep.
You know, when other people are focused on survival, she's focused on not losing who she is.
Right.
And so even though right now the read on this scene is it's just the love of a sister for a sister, it is that, but it's planting a seed for what we're going to see from this character all the way through. As Joker says in Dark Knight,
When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
she wants to survive, but more than that, she wants to not be changed by the capital, by society, by everyone else falling apart, that she's going to be a rock.
Yeah.
You know, we love you guys so much. because sometimes the world feels a little too Pan-Am-y for me.
Yeah.
and just the coldness and the detachedness and people just looking out for themselves. And it's easy to lose faith in people.
In other people, yeah.
And then you go to our comment section, and you keep saying about our fans. Or
we have the most wonderful comment section on the internet.
Yeah.
We have the best one.
I love you, you love me. We're a happy family with a great big hug and a kiss from me to you. Won't you say you love me too?
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Presumably, we create the show, so we're here to inspire. And more often, we're inspired by what we read from you, the things you say, and how you interact with each other.
I mean, honestly, that's why we're still doing it. This is hard work. And
Yeah.
Like, we would have quit a long time ago.
I mean, the popcorn's really good.
The popcorn is good.
The popcorn is excellent, but it is a lot of work.
Yep.
I've got butter pecan.
Did you give me Raspberry Dream because it looks bloody?
I did. Because it's the Hunger Games.
Oh, I just wanted to throw this scene in because I was talking about how great of an actor Jennifer Lawrence is. Pay close attention to what she's doing with her face. Like, she's putting in so much work and keeping it relatively small, but you feel every inch of the panic that she's feeling.
Well, because she's literally about to go up a tube
She's gonna go up and die.
and start.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to bet.
It is not easy to have that big of an emotion and not look cartoony.
Yeah. Well, because she plays it like somebody who's trying to control it and keep it in,
Yeah.
and it's still just like coming out, like the shakes and look,
20 seconds.
the trembling and the. And I remember seeing this for the first time and really feeling it.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of
Seconds.
filmmaking technique that's helping you here, like the handheld camera, things being slightly out of focus a lot of the time.
The cold sterility of this whole environment.
That just mechanical sound
Yeah.
with nothing else. There's no music. It's just,
There's nothing to comfort you. There's nothing to comfort the character.
you're just alone in this machine that's going to kill you.
or rather send you to your death, but yeah.
Well, I mean, metaphorically, the machine of Pan-Am is going to kill you.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
There's so much that's happening in that one scene. It's really, really well done.
Yeah, no, she's a brilliant actress. When your hero is not stoic and fearless, when your hero is terrified, you're terrified.
Exactly. Yeah.
know?
If you have a walking tank who's not afraid of anything, like Rambo 3, you don't feel much. You don't feel much aside from rah, rah, rah. But she's absolutely petrified, and you feel it
Yeah.
with her. It's great.
So she's here in the games, and there's this girl from District 11, right? The next district over.
Yeah, I think so.
Named Rue,
Who's young, like her sister's age.
who's young like her sister was. And kids have been slitting each other's throats, stabbing each other,
And she got attacked by these tracker jackers, which are super horrible wasps.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of taking advantage, Rue took care of her.
gonna hurt you.
So what happened while I was out?
The girl from 1 and the boy from 10.
And the boy from my district?
Yeah, he's okay. I think he's down by the river. Is all of that true?
What?
You and him.
So where are Kato and the others?
Doesn't answer because the cameras are on.
It's piled up in this great big pyramid.
That sounds tempting.
And Rue sees her as a mother figure.
Yeah.
Or as an
Or
older
an
sister.
older sister, yeah.
But someone who's going to protect her. The whole purpose of the games is for everyone in there to kill everyone else until one person is left standing.
Right.
It doesn't make any sort of sense for Rue to look after Katniss while Katniss is unconscious. What makes sense is for Rue to slit her throat because it's one less person.
I'm one step closer to surviving and getting out of here, right?
Yeah. And then Katniss, when she's awake, to be giving Rue her chicken. It reminds me of one of my favorite books everybody should read, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Mm-hmm. He was a Holocaust survivor, and he talks about this very concept of there were a lot of people who took a dog-eat-dog attitude in the concentration camps. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to make sure I have enough food. I'm going to make sure I survive. And he talks about how those people often didn't make it. Mm-hmm. That the people who looked out for each other, who were, I'm starving, but you're starving too, so here's my bread.
Sure.
And who kept their traditions alive, kept their songs alive. Those are the people who often, if you were to survive, it was usually those people who did. And he talks about this whole concept of, the Nazis could take away our freedom, they'd take away our families, they could literally kill the people we love, they could take our lives, they'd take everything from us. What they couldn't take was how we chose to respond. They couldn't take away our attitude, they couldn't take away our morality. Mm-hmm. Our integrity. They didn't have the power to take that from us. We could give it to them, but they couldn't take it. And I watched this, and this is futuristic sci-fi, but the concept of not losing who you are no matter what's going on around you, it's beautiful, and it's really hard in real life.
Yeah.
I want to believe that if I were in the arena, I'd be like, I would rather die than kill an innocent, or I'd rather...
I want to believe that about myself, and I suspect that it is not true.
I'm fairly confident you and I would not kill children.
Oh, no, I'm not going to go kill... No.
But if they throw you and I in there with a bunch of middle-aged dudes...
Watch out!
We're the worst. So Rue's in a trap and Katniss is rescuing her. Trigger warning, this is upsetting stuff.
So this is the first person that Katniss has killed in the arena, and...
It's okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
Did you blow up the food?
Every bit of it.
Good. You have to win. Can you sing?
Okay. Deep in the meadow, under the willow, a bed of grass. Sorry.
It's hard to do commentary.
Yeah. Her compassion shines through. And Jennifer Lawrence's performance is so strong there.
Yeah. It's a type of story where on paper you could see like parent watchdog groups being like, this is a movie about kids killing kids.
Kids killing kids.
How terrible is this? But that's the point, is that it is terrible. And that's the point is, I mean, it's hard to think of a darker, worse situation than we're having kids kill other kids on national television.
It's like, literally the stuff of nightmares.
Yeah, like this is how depraved our society is, which makes this even more powerful. You talk about her compassion shining through. What I love about Katniss, she doesn't even especially have a model. You know, she has a couple people that are kind to her. Peeta gave her bread one time, which was...
Yeah, Peeta has been kind, and Gale is kind and supportive.
Yeah, and then Cinna shows some beautiful compassion, but as far as like actually being in the arena in a dog-eat-dog, kill-or-be-killed situation, she has zero examples of integrity, of compassion, of goodness. What she has is...
Well, and her coach, Haymitch, is just a cynic.
Embrace the probability of your imminent death. And know in your heart that there's nothing I can do to save you.
Hilariously, so, but you know, it's not going to help you very much.
It actually reminds me of a great episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where an opponent has turned her friends against her or kept her friends away from her, and he says, you know, take away your friends, take away your support. What's left? And she says,
Me.
And I look at Katniss, and sometimes we find sources of inspiration, historical figures, people in our lives, things like that, but other times it really feels like you against the world. Mm-hmm. And this is kind of like the antithesis of Joker, if you think about it. Because in Joker, society is crumbling, and then he crumbles right along with it.
Right.
Whereas in Hunger Games, society is crumbling, and Katniss is saying, not me.
Yeah, steps in and tries to rebuild it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question as a director. When Rue is dying, and we get Rue's POV of like the trees that are kind of getting
out of focus.
Yeah, getting in and out of focus. And you hear Katniss singing, and the camera almost goes to Katniss's face, but we're instead focused on Rue and what this is like for her. Can you speak to what that choice is?
Well, it's to connect us as the audience with the experience that Rue is going through, because after that, we come back to Katniss.
Yeah.
Crying over her, zipping up her jacket. And it makes that part of the scene hit so much harder. If we're focused on Katniss the entire time, then, you know, subjectively, we're just getting... This is Katniss's experience of this happening. If we get Rue's experience of dying and being comforted while she dies, and then we see Katniss's reaction, it's like a compounding effect of what you're doing emotionally, right?
Yeah.
If you just stay on Katniss the entire time and then maybe pan down and you see her eyes and she closes her eyes, that's sad.
Yeah.
But if we get to experience it and this tender moment that Katniss is, you know, sort of helping her.
Yeah.
And then we go to Katniss. It's really, really strong filmmaking. There are a bunch of filmmaking choices in this movie that I think were well-intentioned and just kind of went over the top. Like, there's a lot of imagery that is kind of hearkening back to Schindler's List, right?
Yeah.
They're very much trying to make...
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that, but now you say that, yeah.
Yeah, District 12, very much, they're trying to make it feel like the camp.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it feel that way, and part of the way they did that, Schindler's List is almost completely handheld.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when you're in the camps. It's all handheld and it's quite shaky, but it's still intelligible. This is quite shaky to the point where it's disorienting to watch on a television. In cinemas, it was like almost nauseating.
Yeah.
It was too much.
Yeah.
And there's a fine line to walk there between, like, we're shaking the camera so we can feel like, oh, we're in it and we're a live participant, and just like, too much.
Yeah.
And I feel like this crossed the line. This scene, I thought, was a good amount of grounded and real and natural. Like, the camera is a person who's breathing, right?
Yeah.
So you get this motion without being too much. You're not losing faces. You're not, like, drifting off of things. There's really interesting contrast where when she leaves District 12 and goes into the woods, everything gets a lot smoother. It's either on a Steadicam or on, like, a dolly, because things get really, really smooth, and this is where Katniss feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And then she gets into the arena, and we're back handheld again. And then she gets attacked by the Tracker Jackers, and it's absolutely insane, and there's, like, repeat stutter editing and just all kinds of fun effects to give you the sensations that she's experiencing. There's a lot of really, really great filmmaking technique that's happening. I just feel like sometimes there's too much of it.
Yeah. What I noticed when I saw the film for the first time, is once the games officially start and they're either running into the woods or they're all running to the cornucopia to get their supplies, to get their weapons, and they all start killing each other, is normally I hate when you have handheld and quick cuts to the point where it's hard to see what's going on.
I thought it was effective in that
It's very effective here because you get just enough to be nauseated, revolted, terrified.
Exactly like what she's feeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because the camera doesn't focus on like watching the kids kill the kids, you just see them like start to do emotion or something.
You get enough that it is terrifying and revolting,
yeah.
and you're sickened by it.
But I actually like, not just because I think it would be garish to
it's
actually...
gratuitous to
it would be
show
gratuitous
kids
to actually
kids.
show it. But you retain your morality, like, because instead of watching it all happen, the camera moves away. Like, you as the viewer are just like Katniss, like you can't bear to see it.
Well, you can't bear to see it, and you're also put in her headspace of, this is all terrible, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've got to get the thing that I need, and then I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Because otherwise these careers, these, kids who've been training their whole lives to come in here and kick ass are going to kill me.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah. So Katniss singing to Rue and showing that compassion actually triggers riots in Rue's district.
In Rue's district and a couple other ones.
And a
too,
couple of the other ones. And that's what happens a lot of times when you have someone who exemplifies what people want to be but they're too scared to be, is it galvanizes a movement.
Oh, we can do it too.
Yeah, and so because of what she shows in the arena, she's recruited to be the Mockingjay, to be a figurehead of the resistance, of the rebellion against the Capitol. And there's a problem.
On the next exciting episode of Cinema Therapy.
She definitely has PTSD before the games.
Yeah.
And now she's going to go into something called complex PTSD. We're going to watch this, and then we'll talk about what the difference is and how to deal. We've also got Finnick, who, like Katniss, has been through
the same hell, if not, worse.
Yeah. I told you last month I had a panic attack, had a lot going on in my life, and was really to the max stressed out. She thinks, well, that was hell. I made it through the games, but now I'm set for life. My family's not going to starve. And so she may believe I can start to heal.
Right.
And then this happens.